Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Our viewers, I salute you all. My name is Norman Tumuhimbise. We are streaming live from the Digital House, and that's on our social media handles where we stream live on the YouTube channel under the name The Alternative Digital, then Digital TV on Facebook, and also Alternative Digital, another page on Facebook. So it depends on which page that makes you convenient to access. You can find us on all those three social media handles. As always, every Monday we have the Hotline Show, where we feature a panel of 3 ORAs, 2 of whom are permanent panelists, and also other days we ensure that we have another person to challenge the other 2. Unfortunately for today, we happen to miss out Mr. Joseph Ochino, who had gone to attend Right Honorable Raila Odinga's burial and couldn't make it in time. Fortunately, also we have the one and only retired Major Awich Pola, who is a director at the NRM Secretariat in charge of external affairs. We are glad he doesn't operate from external, he operates from within. So we have him here, who always pays too much time to come by and also answer the tough questions and or brief the public about the progress of the government he serves. The extreme end of my left is Counsel Yvonne Mpambara. I do not know whether she has stopped crying for having missed out to appear on the ballot paper, but of course perhaps that also gives her room to plan better come next time, and or more determined to ensure that come 2031, who knows, she could appear on the ballot. Maybe the issues she raised will have been solved, who knows. The reason for which we are here on this Monday from now to 9, want to interrogate in particular, this time around we are beginning with the NRM presidential candidate, His Excellency retired General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Tiwahaburwa, where him and the team considered to, of all themes, to choose protecting the gains. This, however, also reminds me, and those of us that were there in 2005, where Honorable Jabeli Bidandisadi recorded an audio message back in the day, and he would say in Uganda, "Oyinake wekoledde, oyina abaana." I think I know you know that message. To loosely to mean, is there something you have achieved during this time? Do you have children? Do you have business? To mean, to some people, it meant if you indeed have achieved such, you had better vote NRM. That was the first election after your capture of power under multi-party dispensation. And that was the message. So we want to think and also believe, is that now another replica? Because literally when you look at protecting the gains, it is as if that's the very message. So we are here to interrogate that and dive deeper depending on what lenses each of the panelists is wearing. I will ask you to say hello this time around, just hello. And then she also says hello. We'll come back and ask you why we are here, sir.
Hello.
Have you heard Counsel? That's him.
So hello so should we also stop at just hello? Good evening, our viewers. Hello to everyone who has tuned in today. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you.
To discuss what we're going to discuss today.
Okay, thank you. So, Honorable Awich, before we dive into our topical discussion, if you don't mind, the last time we met here, it's 7 days down the road. As for her, it's I think 2 or 3 or so weeks. You will give us a summary of how your week has been, and of course, not forgetting to also, if you have any message in regards to the loss of Right Honorable Raila Odinga. But summarize for us how your week has been. At a personal level, government or NRM level, both national and international.
My week has been quite uneventful. It was not crowded with events. It was more routine. And as they said, no news is good news. Because bad news travels faster than good news. So if you don't have news, please stay calm. Because if you have a cousin in Kisoro, a place, you come from Kisoro? Kawale. If you have a cousin in Kawale and you're in Kampala, and you take a whole year from hearing from her or him, don't panic. Things are good. Because if there was a problem, she would have rang you like yesterday. So, to have a very uneventful week means things are good. Except for the external news, of course, for the death of Raila, a Pan-Africanist, who for a long time people thought maybe wasn't in support of NRM, or NRM didn't like him. But as they said, whatever happened, all is well that ends well. We ended well with him. Because if you're coming with a brother from Mbarara and you're eating muchomo up to Lukaya, you're very happy. And after Lukaya, you quarrel up to Kampala. Then you have spoiled everything. You are better off quarreling from Kampala, from Mbarara
to Lukaya,
and
then eat your muchomo.
Eat muchomo up to Kampala. Because the wellness of something is judged by its ending. So in the case of Raila, lately, when he had shown interest, and his country had shown interest of having him as chair of African Union, Museveni vehemently supported him. We even had prospective candidates, very high-powered delegates, candidates like Amama or anybody else, but Museveni said, no, we shall support Raila. And he physically campaigned. The speeches were online. What he did, he said in AU. So, he ended up very happy that we really supported him for AU, even if he lost it. So it was bad that we lost that Pan-Africanist, but all is well with him now. Now, we also had a week where we had our candidate following up everything properly, but campaign after district after the other, because Election Commission has given us every candidate one rally per district. So for all the 8 candidates. So we have been running our rallies. Our candidate has been running it very smoothly. And of course, you can still see that to some propaganda. While our candidate is busy doing his rally, some people were busy with propaganda that is not well, is sick, is what, and all that, with some ugly circulation of things. But that talks about the mindset and the capacity and the thinking of our opponents. For us, we are into giving our message to the voters, and we are not bothered about which propaganda to send where. We are not sending any propaganda. We are completely using revolutionary methods of work where we identify the problems and look for solutions. So my week was quite uneventful, and I have no regret for that, because as I said, no news is good news.
Okay, if I goes to Counsel Mpambara, there are 2 things I have highlighted, in fact 3 that I have highlighted to that regard. First of all, you said the propaganda does not, you are not bothered, but I saw your commander-in-chief seemingly annoyed, and he said police or investigators should, security actually, should do something about the propaganda of announcing him dead, rather sick. If I may ask you, Honorable Awich, would that bother you if someone, because if you know you are alive, why would people bother that people said you are sick? Because it's like any other human being. So is it falling sick part of life? And also saying that someone is sick, would you put your attention onto such propaganda, as you call it? Because what is factual, he's okay and he's seen in rallies. That is what is factual. What is not factual is that he is admitted. So why would one bother?
You see, a crime, and by the way, you make mention of my colleague as counsel, and you choose not to make mention of me as counsel.
Sir, I want to say, viewers, amidst me is senior counsel, a former judge in the UN, Counsel Awich Paula. Proceed, sir.
Yeah, because if you want to make it uniform, if you choose to introduce her as counsel, then you should introduce me too.
And when I introduce you as a retired major, then I say a civilian general.
she's not a retired anything.
Civilian general.
She's not. Because you see, the innuendos there is that you make it look like NRM is represented
by an ordinary person,
a low professional caliber person, or a non-professional.
Yet he's a former judge.
And we take that serious because our opponents are very brutal on us.
Yeah.
Do you know that they have even often said that in NRM, if you join with your brain, you leave it at a gate, then you enter.
Why do you think they say such?
Just because of their bad manners. Their bad manners. So, and if you now say you don't reveal I'm a counsel, they can even say
that you also left your brain
even leaving home I had nothing. Even leaving home I had nothing. At least let them know where they left it at. So I was saying, a crime, like counsel knows, is not what you have done. A crime is what you have thought. Although there's a mens rea and actus reus. Yes, in that, by the time you do a crime, you have already known it is a crime. And that is why it is said ignorance of law is no defense. Because by the time you're pulling somebody's mango, you look left, you look right. If somebody is not seeing you, then you pull the mango. Meaning there's somebody inside you telling you pulling that mango is not a correct thing.
The inner you.
So, but if you do it without knowing, then it is not a crime. For example, we share boundaries with Karamojong. For a long time, Karamojong knew cassava is not planted They would say it grew by itself. Now, if arrested the Karamojong and took him to court and he has uprooted cassava, and the court really believed this man didn't know, he has no, that is planted.
The issue is now the burden is proving
except
that he didn't know.
if the prosecution proves that this man was
Knew.
cutting sugar cane in Kakira. He cut sugar cane for 2 years. He used to move around Kakira. He saw people planting cassava. He can't deceive this court that cassava is not planted. So back to the other point is, if this person didn't know it is a crime, then let him come openly and say, I'm the one who posted Museveni is dead. But the fact that he hides, it means even inside him, by the time he was doing, he knew it is a crime.
Does that mean
And
also
all that matters now is for the prosecution to check which section. Immediately you know that his mens rea was there, leave it now to
prostitution?
to check which section will fit. So you are now asking, so those people commit crimes and they know, and that's why they do it in hiding. Now about why the victim, in this case Museveni, victim
who is healthy
bothered.
and strong? Why would he bother?
About why a victim, you know, there are sometimes a crime is committed to you and it doesn't bother you, but it bothers people around you. It offends people around you to the extent that you may have to restrain your people. Please don't mind, don't mind. So it offends some people even more than you. And it brings disharmony in society. Even if it is at a family societal level, a village societal level, or a clan societal level, it brings disharmony and unhappiness. It is not good. And that is why those who do it in hiding. If it was good, then why doesn't he come out and say, oh, colleagues, I'm the one who posted. It's fine, I posted that Museveni is dead. He can't. Why? It's like the person who is stealing mango who looks left and right to see if somebody is not seeing him and he grabs it. Because there's somebody inside you telling you, no man, I was the legal team of Ongwen, Dominic. In at The Hague. I was on the legal team at The Hague. We argued ourselves silly. Why? We argued that Ongwen was captured when he was young. He grew up in the rebel. So he did not have the capacity, the cognitive capacity. The court ruled at the world level that as long as you're a human being, somebody's inside you which tells you right and wrong. They said, we are not worried about Ongwen's killing below 18. Even if he killed 1 million people, if he was below 18, that one, we are not bothered. But immediately he's 18, you can't convince us that he's such a monkey who doesn't have something inside him to tell him wrong and right. So these people who post Museveni, the guilt is inside them. They do it knowing they are hurting. They do it with the intention to hurt.
So is he that fragile that he can simply be hurt by such a post?
He's not that fragile, but I tell you that you can be hurt even if you try to resist. The hurt injures people around you and you may be forced to act.
Finally, on that very concern, Honorable Awichpola, do you ever wonder why someone out there would gladly post and say the president is sick or admitted? That reason for which
the question is, do I ever wonder?
Yeah, like why would someone wake up in the morning and post that so and so is sick?
I don't wonder. Maybe you want to ask me why I don't wonder.
Okay, you can answer. You're still dealing with the lawyers. Okay, tell the public why you don't wonder.
Why I don't wonder is that it is not one reason. Some of them, it's the political interest that he wants to access, or his persons should access political positions. So he feels that the presence of Museveni bars his person from accessing political interest. And therefore, of course, political interest with economic interest thereafter. And therefore, is annoyed with it. But some also have low cognitive ability, ignorance, so to say, such that even if somebody in a democratic processes does not allow you to continue to advance your political interest, you really don't need to do that. But with a poor cognitive ability, he utters such things.
Okay. This is the real final onto this very issue. Do you also realize on social media and the entire media stories and also in campaigns that there is propaganda which cuts across and blackmail.
Propaganda
And
in
blackmail.
bad faith, which is intended to hurt people, is there, but is not with us. It's not with us. It is with the other opponent.
I will refer you
we don't do that.
I will refer you to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament when he was in Busoga, and he gladly said that Honourable Bobi Wine is literally supported by the homosexuals. And this is not news. So many in your government, very many people have come to say that young man, you know, is an agent of the West. He's a pro homosexuality. And one wonders on whether if you can also be hurt by someone posting that the president is admitted, and you don't want to also take it on that also Bobi Wine's family is equally hurt, when some people in government also say that the reason for which he's so hard onto this regime is because he has foreign support, but in particular, the homos.
Those are assertions. Those should have been facts. Are both facts?
I will ask our
For
producer to look for that
example,
video. He will post it there for the Honourable Speaker as we move along.
I think on the issue of the relationship between Bobi Wine and homosexuals, there are documentary evidence where he has met them, either in seminars or workshops, or where he has even his own utterances. And there was one utterance where he tried to revoke it. So I think if you put, if it was a matter in court and you put Anita to test,
he would use that as evidence.
There are documentary evidence that prove his relationship. So that is a statement of facts that can be proven by the person who uttered it. But I think you and me know that they are rubbing their contacts that has been manifested to that effect, even if Bobi Wine knows it, and it is what is being used against him. But if you say the other statement of Museveni dead is a fact,
sick,
is he dead? No, it's a sickness and death also.
He said, I think the post said that he was admitted, something
there
like
was
that.
sickness and death also. Okay. So is he dead? So you
I
can
wouldn't
see
mind
that.
I wouldn't mind. I am not dead. I was like, guys, I am not dead. They are joking.
Or
I'm
even
not dead.
sickness. Does he have any medical proof that he was admitted or being treated? So this, the one of Anita and the one of this other man are presumed to be statement of facts. Who of them can stand by those facts? Okay. I think Anita, the short history I know is that indeed our colleague Bobi Wine, Honorable Chagulanyi, indeed in the past have rubbed shoulders with these people. In one instant, he even tried to retract it by saying, oh, you know, when I met these people, blah, blah, blah. So those are statements of facts, and those who uttered it can be put to test to prove it, that I said this because of ABC.
Thank you, Honorable Awich. Counsel Awich Pola. You see, I have to highlight Counsel Awich Pola. So close to Counsel Yvonne Mpambara, and maybe you could also summarize. I don't even know whether we could call that a summary, because he went ahead beyond a summary, and but of course that was equally important. You are going also to use literally at the same time and summarize for us the period while you were away, not forgetting the loss of Raila, and also all the political sequence of events as you might have followed them.
Of course, I'll begin with the past week, having lost a well-known freedom fighter. But also it's observing the interesting turn of events, especially when it comes to how the younger generations perceive Raila. For the past couple of years, a lot of Gen Zs especially, and the much younger millennials had fallen out with Raila. And I think if you had been following news, you'd see the reasons why. They reached a level where they are no longer tolerant of anyone they feel has betrayed them. And they felt that that's where Raila had started going wrong. They thought he was now in bed with Ruto, especially in Kenya, and they had slowly started detaching from him as a person. But I was surprised that despite all that, they still celebrated his life. We all came in solidarity. We said we have to pay tribute to this special man. Although even during the African Union
Yeah. Campaigns.
campaigns, I think majority of us decampaigned him because we had followed the trend of how politics had gone in Kenya and said, we're going to stand with our brothers and sisters. We won't give him that seat. Of course, retired general has said, NRM was pushing, Museveni was on his side, but then we feel there was that disconnect with the younger generation because we're no longer willing to tolerate the level to which we felt betrayed. It's very sad. We felt at a loss as well because also majority of these deaths is the death of so many mentors. I think Ruto talked about it and said that he was one of the mentors and people I looked up to when I was in most of these spaces in politics. So we feel it was a big loss for us as well. The other interesting fact is the fact that he talked about propaganda. There were these posters
the black men,
about Besigye and Tindu that were going around, Tindu from Tanzania, that people were circulating around social media saying, especially for Besigye,
they had asked that he be allowed to go and bury.
That, let me go and bury my friend. I think they were very good friends, himself and Raila, saying that I need to go and bury my friend. Let me out. I go bury my friend, and after that you can kill me peacefully. That was very scary. Of course, at first I looked at it and said, I mean, if he got out and he managed to escape to Kenya, why would he come back? That would be a route for him to go to exile. But it's interesting to see that we've reached that level of the political culture in East Africa, where we can't have that level of tolerance and unity. For Besigye to lose a close friend like that and he's still in jail, or for during elections, for Besigye to still be in jail, and we're not even sure why he's there. We're not sure why he's there. And the same trend is happening in Tanzania. The leader of opposition is in jail, also pleading and begging to go and bury his friend. Who is copying who? What's happening? What's happening?
Which will answer you because he's a friend of Tanzanians. He always goes there. Not even. I think in the space of a month he can go there like twice. So
we need those answers. We need those answers. Okay. So we feel the political culture it's regressing, and it's very sad that it's regressing to that level. It's sadder for the younger generations to be witnessing that, especially from what we'd call the older guard that is supposed to be doing the mentorship part of the next generations of leaders that are supposed to be coming up. But also secondly, with the political culture that we have here in Uganda, now that we are going through campaigns, presidential campaigns, but also preparing for the nominations of members of parliament. I remember a statement that Honorable Norbert Mao said a few weeks ago, where he said, this is going to be the quietest election period. And indeed, it's extremely quiet.
Isn't that a credit to Honorable Wich and the team? That they are not bokos, because if you may complete...
Is that what he meant?
If you may complete the entire message, Counsel Yvonne, I want to remind you also, as a matter of fact, that he said, I think the most recent video, he said people are looking for masanyalaze, they're looking for power, for electricity. So thinking that after they have arrested them, they will make a lot of, they will make political capital. So isn't that a plus that so far there is no recorded violence? Literally the campaigns are calm, save for basic, in quotes, basic interferences. Wouldn't you credit them?
No, that's one way to look at it. But on our side, we feel...
You want a way?
No, we feel it was a statement that was a threat to Ugandans. It was showing that any level of dissent,
there is going to be trouble.
We're willing to come down on you.
He will tell us
something else.
If he has a different picture.
So I think that's why Ugandans took it with a pinch of salt. If you heard how Ugandans responded to that statement, they were scared, they were not happy. They said, what does that statement mean? What does that statement mean? Are we not going to hold rallies anymore? Are we not going to be in our homes? Are we not going to follow our candidates? What does that statement mean? And you cannot blame Ugandans for feeling scared and wondering why a statement like that
Does that mean that they have shied away and left the campaigns take their own course?
Who has shied away?
I mean the electorate, maybe because of such a message. So some are skeptical.
I mean, Ugandans are willing to push all the time, even if you threaten them. I don't think they've run away per se, But I think we need to interrogate what that in particular meant, especially with the kind of history we've had from the past elections and with the kind of regime we're currently under, since we know how the trend of things have been going.
Wouldn't you credit police in your heart of hearts and say, at least for now, so far, is there any credit for police and security agencies?
I mean, for once, the level of violence and arrests are not as many. So I would credit them for that. But I feel still on the other side, the way Ugandans receive most of these things is what matters. It's how they receive them. If we are used to a history of violence, especially during elections, it means that when certain threats are being made, it's the first thing we're going to think about. We're not going to think about peace. We're not going to think about police behaving out of the blue, yet for the longest history they've never behaved. The first thing we start thinking about is these people are planning something to do to either the electorate or the candidates.
Okay. Counsel, everyone have this as your, I think for now, in regards to that very foundation for our discussion. You mentioned, and of course the same question will come to Honorable Awich Pola, East Africa at large for having lost a person they consider Pan-African. But some people also consider him otherwise, as for some reason, either too tolerant and to that regard also going ahead and being interpreted by some as a political opportunist. Create some trouble, go handshake, go back home. Come fight a bit, create some trouble, handshake, mediate, come back on board with, of course, specifics in regards to agreements. He had issues with, even if we come closer and cite issues between him and the late President Moi. In fact, even if we left Moi, Mwai Kibaki, and it is on record that they had their agreement. I will want cabinet ministers. I want all these positions for my people. Let alone when he felt betrayed, he ran away in courts, political running, made other formations. What is your say in particular? Is he a genuine Pan-African or a political opportunist?
That goes to me?
Yeah, sure. We'll come back to Honorable Awich, the very one.
I have seen those statements where he's been called a political plant, that he's made a political career out of running. And I think they had started saying a couple of those statements to Besigye as well.
Yeah, sure.
But I think maybe looking at the realistic end of it, there are times when the electorate reaches a point where they feel that if your candidature is not achieving the results it's meant to achieve, then you're not giving them the results they want.
Does that represent that saying of if you can't defeat them, join them?
No, we are coming. But then along the way, and I like how the political culture of Kenya runs. You can see their level of opposition, and whoever is in the seat is never too much far apart from each other. There's a way they tolerate each other in terms of maybe if I do not win, you can come as vice president, or you can come as a minister, or you can, which is not a culture that we see here in Uganda.
Would you advocate for such a culture? That wake up in the morning and Bobi Wine is the prime minister with Museveni, or Besigye is the minister, and that's the way to go?
I would, but I think for majority of the generations we have now, that level of tolerance is not there. It's not there. So it's either you are for or you're against.
Completely.
Even there's no in between.
Even being Honorable Awich's friend is trouble. Some people, if you're in opposition.
And I think that's why the slightly older generation keeps trying to bridge those gaps and tell us you cannot have the extremes the way you think it's supposed to be. You can't say because Bobi Wine is opposition, you can never dialogue with Museveni, which is what majority of us are not willing to see. Because the minute we see Bobi Wine and Museveni in one picture, we'll say Bobi Wine has been
Is that either or willing to, do you think either Museveni or Bobi Wine, any of them is willing to have with the other for a dialogue and
share? For the good of this country, I think we need to reach a level of democratic maturity where that should be possible.
Okay.
The way Kenya does it. But I do not think we have that level of democratic
maturity.
Finally,
how would you describe Raila? Are you for those who say he was a political opportunist or rather a mature politician?
I think no. It reached a point where he had become an industry plant, or what we call.
Okay.
Yes.
That I don't threaten my guest, Honorable Witch, because
If I'm being honest, he had reached that level. Because now, from all these levels of leadership and from the different regimes he had sat through, and at his age, if he had also reached Ruto's government and he was doing the same thing, despite how many protests were coming from the much younger generation saying, we have to reach a level where we can't tolerate being in support of this man because of what he's doing. I think for his age, he should have said, I've done enough, I need to take a back seat, or either join an old guard where I can just guide. Okay. But joining them directly is why they saw him as a sellout.
Yeah, where you can't defeat them, you join them. What's your view? Given your expertise and experience, I will give you some bit of a reference that there are some South Africans up to now that have never forgiven Nelson Mandela. I know for a fact because you have been there. And being someone at an international level, I know you know that there are people who have never forgiven Mandela. Surprisingly, there are so many that we are very happy with Robert Mugabe's policies. Re-own everything that belonged to the whites. For Mandela, guys, let us preach peace and reconciliation. From Right Honorable Raila, in which caliber would you see him and also describe him? An opportunist, a mature politician.
First of all, it's difficult to make a decision. Even me, to come here for this show, I have to decide between coming here and doing some other things. So you can see how hard it is to make a decision. And that is why in family law or domestic relations law, it's a relationship between a wife and a husband is very special.
That's why they can't even testify in court at some point.
Because if me alone, I struggle to take a decision, should I go for a show, should I not? How about if you put Yvonne and Peter and you expect them to be together? And that is why if Yvonne runs to court with a bleeding head, cut with a panga by Peter, that she wants to divorce, court will give what you call decree ninsai. Go and think about it. Even if she yells and said, hey, my head is
because
bleeding.
They know that at any point
they said, go back.
You might reconcile.
If you come back, court will grant you what is called decree altam. That is, say, after 6 months or 1 year. I don't know the provision now. Now, court will have a cooling period for the reason that issues between two are very difficult. Remember, I've started that even decision making of one person is difficult. Whether to come for this show or to go for something else. How about now Yvonne and Peter? Now, that is how decision making is very difficult. And for the marriage, for example, for the couple, the cooling period of 1 year used to be that out of 100 people who have come and applied for decree inside, only 5 come back for decree altam. The others, they already
and reconcile.
The others, they already kissing. Many are actually pregnant. So if courts were to issue such things, you can see how many do it. Now, coming to a community decision making, you want to please everybody, whether you are Mandela or Raila, because the decision you will take is difficult for you to make, and when you make, it's difficult.
Comes with the consequences.
South Africa, for example, is that we had 2 forces. There was the Pan-African movement and then the ANC. Pan-African movement, which was calling itself the Azania, believed that push the whites to the ocean. Push the whites to the ocean. Mandela with Lucky Dube. They also hated Lucky Dube. They called him a coward. Because Lucky Dube in his songs had things like Together as One,
different colors,
one people. You know, Lucky Dube kept singing so many things, crime and war, where he was really saying we need to become together. Mandela and Lucky Dube believed in a rainbow country. a rainbow country, meaning a country of everybody.
Yeah, every color.
But some people didn't. Therefore, with the decision making, I started with myself. I put Yvonne and Peter, and now I put Nelson Mandela. It's difficult. You want to please anybody, everybody rather. So you better make it. So whatever it is, the young generation, Yvonne is saying we are not happy with Raila, but that was the decision he took. For the insiders in Kenya, they said there were times when Kenya was supposed to be on fire, and Raila coming together with Ruto saved Kenya. But of course, some youth will say,
who benefited? Because it's one thing to save them.
Kenya benefited.
Go back home with some
Kenya benefited because Kenya was not on fire. Now, if you think the benefit must be what you carry in your chest or in your bank account, then that is up to you. But in this case, the belief was Kenya benefited. Kenya was not set on fire because there was such hostilities that if the two leaders did come together, Kenya would be on fire. So who is the beneficiary? It's Kenya. But as I said earlier, you want to please everybody. That is it. And that is why Lucky Dube was still cast in South Africa. He was advocating for the rainbow country. Mandela advocated for that. PAC, which was a very fundamentalist organization, where are they? They're nowhere. I don't think even PAC has a member of parliament now in South Africa.
Does that represent the very reason for which people like Malcolm X is literally faded away? Because there's some people who, okay, Malcolm X himself, if I may use an analogy, he said if someone comes and talks to you in French, you don't reply to them in English because literally you won't communicate. So to him who was literally for an eye for an eye, if they have done us wrong, so be it. We approach them that way. Does that mean that such theories haven't worked, or rather they are seen as radical theories?
But even ANC in South Africa with Mandela, for a long time they believed in a peaceful
discussions and dialogues.
Yes, peaceful. For a long time, until they also realized that their peaceful approach was being met with force. So they also resorted to armed struggle. The armed struggle that ends
with the radical Winnie Mandela
and formed later on the spear of the nation. What is it in Zulu? In Ziwe, something like that. You remember? The spear of the nation.
Of the nation.
That army of theirs, which by the time they captured power, they had over 100 generals. We used to meet them. We used to bring them.
You trained them in Nakasongola and
Kaweta. One time I asked them, I said, but you guys, you are generals. Where are your army? He said, we have 90,000 force. Invisible army. They had it. They had girls, beautiful girls like Yvonne, who would carry a scorpion pistol in their brags, in their kalega, the brags. And they would go with the scorpion pistol in the bar and they would shoot the white, and they knew how to. They had a very former president, the one which came after the third after Mandela, Zuma was the head of military intelligence. He knew how to identify targets. He was a CMI of the struggle, so he would deploy armed struggle girls with a scorpion pistol in the bar and. So they fought, and they had invisible 90,000. So therefore, the armed struggle also came in the case of Mandela. So for the sake of Raila, for him to be seen like that, I had started by saying decision making is difficult, and even when you make, you don't please everybody, but you really, a decision made is better than none made. So if they really felt that by coming together with Raila, with the Ruto, at a time when Kenya was boiling and they served the nation, so there are those who will appreciate and those who will not.
If I may ask you, Honorable Which, had you been in the same shoes, would you have acted the same way he did? Of course, in reference to Ruto, then also the other handshake, you all remember, and for the people he has, would you have done the same?
Personally,
or rather you stand on your feet and say, this is ours, we cannot compromise
so
on
much
this.
Even at my small level, for the sake of community, for the sake of continuation, I've done so much. Even at place of work, where with the work politics at place of work, there are things you let go. So if I was in that situation, and I saw that Kenya or Uganda for that case would be on fire, and all I need to do was to appear and say, please, let's leave it and greet, I would have done that. In other words, that is putting the interest of the country ahead
first.
of yours.
Country before
Yes.
self.
Because
So
should I be, of course some people would celebrate to say, let it burn, after all I'm not in state power. Let it burn, let's lose it.
We both lose it.
Let's both lose it.
Why?
But if you know, you can say, no, I'm not doing. It's just like the other two mothers who came to Solomon and
with
tested
that
Solomon's intellect. Solomon, the one of the woman, both of them
The
were
real mother
claiming.
had a different, yeah.
And then Solomon picked a panga and said, can we cut this thing into half so that you mother take half of the baby? The other fake mother said, yes,
It's
yes,
okay.
yes, you cut it. And then Solomon said, where?
There is no real mother who can
You are
advocate
not a
for
real mother.
chopping that.
So if Kenya was the child and the two mother was Raila and Ruto, and it was going to, it needed to divide it, why wouldn't they sacrifice and said, yes, you are in power, even if this fire cools to your advantage, I would rather let it cool to your advantage, but save Kenya.
Do you think Uganda is mature enough to do that? Because
Yeah.
in reference, let me give you just a very recent reference where, because there is no doubt that the likes of Besigye and other political prisoners are your colleagues, some of them, like your friends back in the Bush days, and you have him in jail, and to some people think this is literally also, let us cut this kid. Is the president a mother enough, if I use that analogy, a mother enough to say, for purposes of this child's life, Uganda, some things will let them be and we move forward.
I don't think that is a good example.
I give you another one.
Mm.
Okay, let us cross to Rwenzururu. Usinga wa Rwenzururu. You have heard if your intelligence has told you A, B, and Z, would you rather choose to crush them or rather look for ways to talk to them and dialogue? We want another example. Proceed, sir.
Example are completely not matching.
Proceed.
You know the example.
Okay, so Uganda mature enough, especially with you who are in power, to say,
You know the matter in issue, the example we are saying is an issue that is threatening the decision of the country. And many people would go away and threaten to tear. The nearest example you can give to Museveni is,
LRA.
yes, where rebel forces are there and they are causing mayhem. And all you needed is to give them spaces in government. Starting from the Lalai, the UP, the first peace talks in Acholi, which brought one, became a minister of public service. He died later. Then there was this peace talks in Yumbe, which made Bamuze to be promoted from sergeant
Yeah.
to major general.
Sure.
Sergeant. he
Ali
was a
Bamuza was a mere sergeant and
sergeant.
promoted to major general.
I was part of the peace talks. I was a captain
Ridiculous.
myself. The man jumped, left me from sergeant
Sergeant
to
to
major
major
general.
general.
And you know, and so on and so forth. So that is the nearest that you'd say that this cabinet you have, even if you have your cadres, NRA clear-headed cadres, can you sacrifice, put them aside and bring this rebel
For purposes of harmony.
for the purposes of harmony? And then you remove the cadre and say, you go and sit away, let us bring this one.
Does that, do you want to communicate that also Uganda has tried it
Yes,
in one way? or the
Ghana
other?
has tried. So that is the nearest example to sacrifice for the sake of the country.
Thank you, Honorable Which. With the due honesty, if I may ask on behalf of our viewers, is there instances where you think that your government ought to have done as you mentioned, but for some reason you didn't do it? Say there was room, and I think at a personal level, at a government level, we should have mediated or negotiated or dialogued with so and so, but this didn't work, and you have such regrets.
I don't remember any now.
Okay. Councillor Yvonne, I don't know whether you want to share.
But you had
I want
asked me
to-
about the statement of Mao.
Okay.
You had
Councillor.
asked that.
Proceed. Yeah, about
had
the
asked
yeah,
me
about the.
that-
I had wanted that we have that in our Okay, you can, yeah. You
If
can
I
maybe,
remember, I think the statement in issue was, you can correct me, that Mao says this is going to be the quietest
yeah,
election.
yeah.
And you people see something wrong with that? Okay, suppose Mao had said this is going to be the most violent election.
We would still put you on.
Would you be happy
Would still
with
be
that?
scared.
Would you still would be scared?
This is what I'm telling you, that decision making, whatever you say, you will not please everybody. And that's why, again, I get back to Lucky Dube. In his song, he says, if you keep telling people something you don't know, they will hate you. Should you tell them about yourself that you know so much, they'll say you are boasting. If you tell them about somebody else, they said you are gossiping. So what do?
Maybe keep
I
quiet.
tell them about what I don't know, they hate me. The song is called I've Got Jar. So it is only Jar whom you can talk about. Because now, if Mao says this is going to be the quietest election,
Was it in good faith?
and you raise
Was
that,
it?
should he had said that this is going to be the most
Was it in
violent?
good faith?
What?
Or it was another violence,
Yes,
but
it
hidden
was.
now in
Yeah,
sweet words?
because
As
it's
a
It was,
minister
political
of
jargon.
government.
or there were threats hidden in sweet words.
As a minister of government and a minister for constitutional affairs, he is the one who oversees election
elections.
processes. Why would a minister say that? One, you would have seen that the laws in place, the relevant laws that needed to be passed, Parliament passed it. He has handed to Election Commission the relevant laws. Two, he would have known that resources available is provided for either for Election Commission, even for the police who are keeping peace.
So he
Including
concluded
training,
by, concluded by
including
saying
training.
with such...
Three, he could have been privy to a meeting with the commander-in-chief who had assured him the level of the participation in the military in this. So as a minister, he was saying, with all this in place, this is going to be the quietest election.
And so far,
you people
and
are
so
up
far
at
it
arms.
is.
So you wanted him to say, this is going to be the most violent election. Then you clap. No.
Isn't it?
No,
does
no,
that
no.
also take us
No.
to some childhood stories of, it's like killing someone's, how do they call it, silently, or, someone may use such a statement, but in actual sense it is covered with some other interpretations as...
Yeah, but it is being seen that there is no violence. It is being seen.
What does Mpambara have to say?
His
To be
statement
fair
has
to
proved that
Ugandans.
it is quiet.
To be fair to Ugandans,
If you-
that was the time they had just told candidates that they were going to be protected by SFC.
By the way, I remember that what you said.
So
that
it was
every
the
country
nature of the environment surrounding the statement that made Ugandans worry.
But otherwise, we have to congratulate Honorable Bawicha and the team for, at least so far, we haven't had that 2021
Level of violence.
level of violence so far. And I think for purposes of building our nation, where credit is called for, it's fair enough for all of us to come and say, kudos, if I may say. And where you of course do otherwise, like where we have seen other DCs bar candidates from attending, approaching specific venues. And I watched Justice Piabakama also saying that was wrong and he would take them up. And of course the police, finally, onto this very matter, which much as you say that we have had some bit of harmony in these campaigns, I know you know for a fact that the president, your commander-in-chief, as his staff, hasn't had issues with security. Whereas other candidates are being told to go through those villages and those funny roads, a distance that one would cover in 2 hours, spends over 8 hours, and their vehicles are getting stuck. What's your comment?
Oh, two things. That my candidate, my flag bearer, has not had issues with security. That is a given. Because the law provides that even if Mr. X was the president, he would still enjoy the presidency status, because a country cannot remain in a vacuum. He will only hand over if another person wins. If he doesn't win and another one wins. So we are lucky that our flag bearer is an incumbent, and there he has those security. So it would be least for
be
him not
bad
to
for-
have security issues. So that is a given. The other one about other people having security issues. You are the one who has been thanking me about how peaceful this thing is.
It was by and large.
So I have not known of that. And if I got to know it, and
You'll
I know
come
the
and-
facts, no, I will raise it within our
Would you just
circle.
stamp
I
yourselves
would raise it in our circle.
if, for instance, if you won this coming election? Would you just stamp yourselves for having participated and won a free, fair, and
Automatically, it is the two of you have recognized.
Okay.
Automatically, because even here,
after blocking some people from using the main road, after anything else, and then you say,
because
we
now,
won this.
now the two of you here have even appreciated me in all
You're going to
due
use that as your defense for the whole of
for the quiet election. So even you put the word so far as if you expected trouble tomorrow.
I don't know you're in charge now.
As if you expected the trouble tomorrow, but you have thanked me for a quiet
Underline
and
is
peaceful
so
election.
far. Underline is so
Yes,
far.
so we
But
shall.
also-
You will keep thanking me
So
every
far,
week.
so far, up to
You
when we
will
vote.
keep thanking me every week because we are going to have a
But
peaceful election.
I think it was in comparison to what transpired in the previous elections. And the yardstick, if you apply such a yardstick of 2021 elections with this, you would definitely be unfair. Not to say that so far you have done fair work.
You will be thanking me weekly.
Up to January. Okay.
You will be thanking me
Mpambara,
weekly.
you have use
We're
the 3
still in
minutes,
the
you
first-
comment on that, and then we can cross to our break, come back and have the heated discussion again.
But also, we're still in the first few weeks of campaigns.
Yeah.
So maybe, like you said, we'll come back to either thank or. I'd wanted to comment on something that you were discussing earlier, especially in terms of if it would be possible for the president right now to be able to dialogue or have that level of democratic maturity with opposition, certain opposition leaders, let's say. I think the issue that we've had in this country is the fact that there's no fair dialogue. It's either Museveni is willing to co-opt you or it doesn't happen. When I was looking at that picture of iPod, when all these, when they held the conference or the meeting, and these party presidents were all lining up as if they've come to greet their idol, like their fans. You can see the way they were humbling themselves. And then it's when I realized,
Of honor, you have to
it's
bow.
when I realized that there's no level of equality between NRM and other opposition and opposition figures or leaders or parties. It's not there. So when I was thinking about what the nature of that dialogue would be, now I started thinking, how exactly will these people dialogue when they're looking at this man like
They're
their idol?
superior and they are
How would they be able to critique? How would they be able to call him out over something? How would they be able to sensibly represent this country's challenges when they're looking at Museveni like he's there, like they had met an idol they hadn't seen in a long time? If you see that picture up to today, it's on the internet. You will see how they humble
that's-
themselves.
Maybe that's your interpretation. You see, photographic interpretation, like back in the day in geography, each one of us would give their own interpretations. They would ask this farm, and you say it's about Tumazi farm in Kabari. I don't know whether it's Kabari or Chisoro. Then someone would say, this is honorable, maybe this is a Wichizi farm in Irida. And
It
all of us
doesn't
would be
stop
right.
there. You see, if it stopped there, it would be okay.
So you
but
could have-
you can't have these same people now going the extra mile to even campaign for NRM. What right does Norbert Mao to have to come and say, I'm campaigning for NRM? What right does the Speaker of Parliament have to go and say, me, I'm campaigning for the military, the
She's
what?
vice chair of NRM.
Okay, fine. Now that's her excuse, but even before she was doing it.
Okay. Like
We have
in
the
a precedent-
military doing the same thing. This, there was what's the soldier's name? I don't know if he's a general or who was going in different districts with pictures of Bobby Wine's children. At least that was an internet story. And saying that, oh, this man, don't vote for him. He's, same story, he's supported by
Odinga, I
homosexuals.
think it's, I've seen,
Okidi?
Yeah, I've seen, I think, some story moving. We shall ask our producer, by God's grace, as we return in our second hour, maybe he could have that clip if we can. I saw that, and yeah.
So that's the level of contention. We are not sure that would have the maturity to have a Ruto and Raila kind of dialogue. It's either someone is displaying their power and they're willing to co-opt you as much as possible to pull you out of that position where you can ably critique and say there's something wrong here. You shouldn't do it.
Okay. Our viewers, we are still moving forward. In a few seconds, shall be back. Let's first step out for a short break and come back shortly. And then we ask Honorable Awich to tell the public what informed of their campaign theme, protecting the gains. Then, of course, with Counsel Yvonne, will answer to us on whether those gains even exist or we have nothing to protect. Catch you in a few seconds.